Good morning, everyone, to day 2 of the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships being held here in beautiful Annapolis Valley in the two host clubs, being the Glooscap Curling Club in Kentville and the Wolfville Curling Center in Wolfville. This morning's draw, featured game, is between Team Nova Scotia and Team Ontario. Team Ontario comes in with a 2-0 record, Team Nova Scotia with a 1-1. This morning, Team Nova Scotia will have the red stones and Team Ontario the blue stones and the hammer in the first end. Team Ontario has come in with an extensive lineup of curlers. There's Skip and Dunn, third Carol Thompson, second Victoria Marianchuk, and their lead Fran, Todd, have an outstanding curling record. Anne herself has been in the Tournament of Hearts in '87 and 2003, Canadian Seniors in 2001, 2002, 2004, and 2006. Carol Thompson has been in the Canadian Mixed Curling Championships in '77, the Scotties in '82 and '87, Canadian Senior Curling Championships in 2002 and 6, and we take a look at Victoria. She's been at the Canadian Senior Curling in Championships in 2010, and Fran Dodd has been in the Scotties in '84, '89, and 2003, and has been in the Canadian Seniors '99, 2001, 2, and 4, and been to the Worlds in 2002 and 4. Speaking of Fran, she's throwing lead rock. Fran's efforts are also into the organizational part of curling. Anne has been chair of the Canadian Curling Association in 2008 and 2009, and has held many advisory and executive levels in Curling Ontario. First stone for Nova Scotia, Jill Linquist. And they've decided to come around right away. The thing about Team Ontario, and what they like about themselves, they said, first of all, we're good friends first. We seem to mesh well, and we think that's the key for our success. No matter how big their experience and their track record has been, they see themselves as being friends first. Second rock for lead Fran Ton for Ontario, asking to be come down, sitting on top of the rock just thrown by Jill Linquist. Sitting in on top of the, biting into the 8-foot. Skip for Nova Scotia, Margaret Cutcliffe, asking Jill to throw in, coming in from the other side of the guard. In turn. Actually an out turn. Sweepers are on it. See if they can pull it into the house. used as a guard here. Team Nova Scotia, fairly new team. They've all had their accomplishments in curling as well. Throwing second for Team Ontario is Victoria Marianchuk. Being asked to remove the last rock just thrown by Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is in an early decision to decide whether they were going to protect their own shot rock in the house or start to remove some of the blues that's up in front. Throwing second for Nova Scotia, Gail Hayes. Looks like they're going to get a peel and run back here. Definitely opens up the house. Nice shot. The shot rock now has also become provide a bit of cover for their shot rock in the house sitting on the 4. Team Ontario, Skip and Dunn, looking to have Victoria throw an in turn, come in and sit on top of the Nova Scotia rock on the 4-foot. Sweepers on it. Looks a hair light. Just a little rub off the Nova Scotia rock out front. Actually, it has squared up as a guard rock for the shot rock in the house for Nova Scotia. Skip, Margaret Cutcliffe has asked second Gail to remove the Team Ontario rock out on the biting the 8-foot. Starting to finish now, but I don't think it'll stay. Hit and roll out. One rock in the house, belonging to Team Nova Scotia sitting on the 4. Throwing third for Team Ontario is Carol Thompson. Asking to tap back one of theirs in the front. Little light. Nova Scotia. Skip, Margaret Cutcliffe, deciding that maybe he would come in and draw in from the right side of the house. As third, Karen Hennigar, first stone of the first end for her to draw in. In turn draw. Looks like it has plenty of weight. Sweepers are not on it at all. Very little curl. Remains in the house, biting the 8-foot at the back. About quarter covered. Ontario with some of the rocks out front. Going to look for a tap back here. Carol throws her last rock. Sweepers are onto it. Starting to finish now. Does have enough weight to tap it back. Great weight, tremendous shot. Tremendous shot. Margaret's now going to be forced to deal with that. Going to get Karen Hennigar third to open up the front. Sweepers are off. Great weight, great throw. Opened up the house. Having full visibility of Team Ontario shot rock. Discussion for Team Ontario between Skip and Dunn and third Carol Thompson about where to have Ann's first rock be placed. Discussion is maybe to be up somewhere around top 8. Or make him down and freeze tight 2. Only danger is if you don't make a great freeze there. May be able to be picked out and leave Nova Scotia shot for 2. First rock for Ann Dunn in the first end. Team Ontario curls out of the Golf and Country Club in Cambridge, Ontario. No sweep yet. Sweepers are now on it. Some discussion in here is which rock to play, whether they want to come after for Team Nova Scotia to come after their own rock just outside the house and use that as the rock to attack the shot rock on the button of Team Ontario. I think that's what they've decided to do instead of going after the rock Ann Dunn had just thrown. This is Margaret Cutcliffe's first rock in the first end. Out turn hip, looks tight. Looks tight. Possible run back onto their own rock. That has worked out rather well for Nova Scotia. Still have a shot under cover, shot rock. Ontario sitting second, but Nova Scotia it's 3 and 4. Ontario also has a rock at the top of the 12 that they can utilize. That's what they've decided to do. Looks like they've made a decision that they're going to tap that one back. Their own rock at the top of the 12. last rock. First end, Team Ontario. Sweepers on it for line. Weights dropping down a bit. Nova Scotia looking at best possibility of trying to come in for 2. There's a little bit of room there that they can come in, sit down part of the 4-foot. Use their own rock as a bit of a backing there, something to come off. So Margaret has a draw here for 2. Broom just sitting outside the 8-foot, partway into the 12-foot. Looking for about 3.5 feet of movement. Sweepers are calling the weights okay. Weights okay. Looking for a line. Now sweepers are trying to draw it in. No, it's not finishing. Not finishing. Can it get close enough? 2 red. Nova Scotia scores the deuce for 2, leading 2-0 after the first end. Ontario with the hammer in end number 2. Once again, the Canadian Masters Curling Championships being held here in Nova Scotia would not be the success that it is without the financial support of many parties. The municipality of the County of Kings, the towns of Kentville and Wolfville, the village of New Minas have been very generous in their financial support as well as services in helping this to become a very successful 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championship event. First stone for Nova Scotia, Jill Linquist. Great throw. Team Ontario deciding to ignore that rock for now and set up a corner guard. Fran Todd is the lead for Team Ontario. Team Ontario had a great day yesterday, going 2-0. Looks like it may be biting the 12, which it is. Skip Cutcliffe will decide that maybe get rid of that and possibly roll over back to the center line. Hit and roll. So Skip and Dunn for Ontario is asking Fran, Todd their lead. Hit. Roll in front of Nova Scotia's rock. on the button. The sweepers have stayed off it. Just finishing up a little better, but no roll. Skills Hayes, second for Nova Scotia, first rock of the second in. An in-turn hit. Sweepers holding it for line. See if they can get a roll back, get a cover for their shot on the button. Roll across, rolling away. Question whether it'll stay in the house. It looks like it'll roll out, leaving the one stone in the house. Question, do they want to get rid of it now? So deal with that rock. Second for Team Ontario is Victoria Marianchuk. Victoria is referred to as sort of the newbie on the team, but really the team communicator. She's the team IT specialist. Deals with the team's Facebook, other technology needs. So has been the team planner communicator as far as the team's successes and their travels throughout the curling year. Second rock on the way from Gail Hayes. Looking to hit. The Ontario rock in the house, sitting on the floor. Looks like it will. A little bit of a roll. Actually, a lot of roll. Still biting on the 12. Skip Van Dunn has decided to come down and draw to that Ontario or Team Nova Scotia rock sitting on the 12. Sweepers on it. Curling starting to come. Curl's starting to come. Don't know if it'll be deep enough. It looks a little light. Sitting at the 12. This will be the first stone for Karen Hennigar. She's third for Team Nova Scotia. Going for an in-turn hit. Looks like it may hit and stick, no roll. So Nova Scotia has 2 biting the 12. Ontario has decided that maybe removing the top. Well, there's 2 options here. We can remove the top, one of the biter at the 12, or draw in, and I think the second decision is what they're going to go with. Carol Thompson throwing her first rock as a third in the second in. On its way. Starting to curl now. There's room to get by, No, it's just a little bit of a rub on the Nova Scotia rock out on the 12-foot. Maybe they left it just a little bit too late. May have drawn back too with that the weight of the rock anyway. It may have been at the back of the house. This is Karen's second rock of First in on its way. Upturn hit. I'd like to see it buried under cover here. I get to finish a little more. It's going to roll away. Back to center. So sitting in the 8-foot. Nova Scotia has 3. 2 biters on the 12. One back of the tee line on the 8-foot. Karen was sort of the instigator, coordinator of this Nova Scotia team this year. All the curlers on Nova Scotia very successful at the senior level, and Karen was able to bring the foursome together to curl for the Masters. And first time, success is golden, representing the province of Nova Scotia at the Canadian Masters. Rock on its way from Ontario. Sliding, gliding through. It's going to go right through the house. One of the traits of the ice at the Glooscap Curling Club is that it tends to be a little quicker coming down back to the clubhouse, back to the glass. That is different from a different speed of throwing down to the scoreboard. It tends to be a little warmer because of the glass areas as far as the clubhouse, and as a result it tends to be just a hair warmer on the ice surface and allows the rocks to glide a little bit quicker. Some teams take an end or two to pick that up. Margaret Cutcliffe's first rock, the second in. Skip, Team Nova Scotia. Sweeper's hard on it. See if they can get it into the house here. Rock has basically split the center line, biting the 12. And Dunn looking at possibly coming down, drawing around that, and using the Nova Scotia rock in the 8 as backing. Key rock for Team Ontario in the second end. Being light or being heavy here may make scoring this end much more challenging than they wish it to be. Hands first rock in the second end. Return draw. See if the reading on the weight is good. Also, they're going to need a little bit of curl. It's starting to move a little bit. Starting to finish. Starting to finish. The biting of the button. It is open. Discussion whether maybe to tap back or sit down and freeze on it. Maybe if they tap it back, use it a bit as backing for their own shot. After discussion down to the front end was recommending maybe just to hit and remove the Ontario stone, and that's the decision that Margaret Cutcliffe is going with. The old adage is it's hard to score if you don't have a rock in the house, so one of the things for sure even if the shot rock for Nova Scotia doesn't stick around, Ontario still has to deal with four Nova Scotia rocks. Delivery on the way. Sweepers are on it. Sweepers on it. Perfect pick. Great shot. And Dunn will be left with the very same throw that she just had to score one. So Anna's already thrown this rock, threw it very well. So it's hit the repeat button and just score one. Sweepers are on it. Sweepers are on it. Sweepers are on it. Sweepers are on it. It's really dying. Steal of one for Nova Scotia. So after two ends, Nova Scotia has eked out a 3-0 lead after a steal in the second end. The corporate support of the event has been outstanding and is critical for any success of a national event or almost any event. So we'd like to give our thanks to Bell Alliant, who have provided the facilities for the online streaming that we have here today. We'd love to thank our team sponsors, Leon's Furniture, Acadia University, Planters Ridge Winery, Bulwark Ciders, Sobeys, Gaspereau Vineyards, Sterling Sweet Cider, the Curling Store in Dartmouth, Subways in Numinus and Wolfville, and Julie's Scaling Physiotherapy Clinic, Canadian Tire, Bishop & Company Chartered Accountants, and the Nova Scotia Community College King's Tech Campus. Nova Scotia's lead Jill Linquist, centerline guard, to start for Nova Scotia in the third end. Lead Fran Todd been asked to come around. A guard. Starting to curl. Looks like it's by the guard. Like it to be a little deeper. Definitely will come into play. Jill's second rock on the way for Nova Scotia. Remove their own guard rock in the front. Open up the house. Only remaining rock is Team Ontario's rock biting is up on the 12-foot. And Dunn, skip for Ontario, has asked Fran Todd to throw her second one to the right of the house. T-line weight. A low turn. Keepers, I think, are comfortable with the weight. Great weight. Great throw. Team Nova Scotia. Mary Cutcliffe was asked, second Gail Hayes, to remove that rock out front. Team Ontario's rock on the 12. Line's looking good. Setting it up for a nose hit. A little bit of a roll for Nova Scotia. They set at the 12. Still shot rock is Team Ontario. Skip and Dunn. Asking second Victoria Marianchuk to come around the Nova Scotia rock on the 12. Then turn draw. Sweepers are on it. Looks light. Over curling. The odd that Victoria would be that much late. Almost think that there's a slight pick there. Players just seem to look like that maybe she did pick up something for it to be that short. Second for Nova Scotia, Gail Hayes. In-turn hit on the remaining Team Ontario rock out in the 12. Quick turnaround, Nova Scotia has 2 in the house. Ontario will go with the strategy of trying to come around the guard that Nova Scotia rock, the top of the house. In-turn draw asked for Victoria. I guess if you were looking in the mirror, you would call that an out-turn draw. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm looking at it as an out-turn draw. It's new. Come over. They're still looking at possibly something being picked up on the ice. Team Nova Scotia deciding to keep everything clean. Hitting the rock just thrown by Team Ontario. First rock for Karen Hennigar. Just enough to get a piece of it. It runs into Nova Scotia's own rock and actually puts the Ontario rock is shot under cover of their long guard. And Dunn has decided to come around that long guard and put one at the top of the house. Also providing some protection for their shot rock on the 8-foot. Got a long way to curl. Long way to curl. Sitting out on that center line, and it's just not finishing. Certainly gives Nova Scotia the option of hitting and rolling. Maybe even squeezing a double out of this. Needs to curl. Needs to curl. A little bit of a roll for Nova Scotia, sitting on the 12, open. And asked her third, Carol Thompson, to throw, hit, and roll to the opposite side of the house. Definitely having a roll. Looking to get it over further. Nice shot. Nova Scotia, or Team Ontario, sitting 1-2. And like the last end, center of the house is wide open. So the game this end has been played more to the perimeter. Team Ontario sitting 1-2, rocks on opposite side of the 8-foot. Margaret Cutcliffe's rock on the way, skip for Nova Scotia. Coming over, it's going to be hit, and a stick. Nose hit here would still give Ontario second shot as well. First rock, Fran Dunn, skip of Ontario, third in. Ontario coming into this event with a 2-0 record after yesterday's start. Team Nova Scotia is at 1-1. Keeping it clean. Roll, over-roll. Ontario shooter rolls out. Hits the second stone. Nova Scotia rock is gone. Team Ontario has left Team Nova Scotia with a couple of options here. I think what Mark Cutcliffe is going to take is to come down to shot rock, maybe a freeze. Checking to see if maybe there's enough time to get by to possibly make a play on that rock, bump it back. By where the broom's placed, I assume that's what they're going to be doing. Margaret sets up on the hack. Focused. Running tight. Got it by the guard. Great throw. Great throw. So Team Nova Scotia continues to put pressure on Team Ontario. Sitting 2. Last rock for Ontario in the third end. And we'll be facing a draw for 1. And delivery on the way. Sweepers are on it. And came up light last end, and they're on it again. And is perplexed by how that came up short. Sweepers were on it, looked like it was in control, and it just died after it crossed the tee line. Nova Scotia has stolen another 2. Take a 5-0 lead after 3. 3 ends. Quite surprising that skip for Ontario and Dunn was for 2 ends has come up short with her draw. Great opportunity, and Nova Scotia's capitalized on that with a 5-0 lead after 3. Lead for Nova Scotia, Jill Linquist. Looks like he's thrown a good weight into the house. If you're looking for somebody to put it on a pin, that's as good as you can get. Also like to thank our other supporters of the event: Old Orchard Inn, J.D. Irving, the Kentville and Wolfville Independent Grocers, franchises of Carl Oldham Jr. in Wolfville, and Jason Blanchard, a long-time experienced curler and great supporter of the curling community in Kentville. Ontario's first rock of the 4th end on its way. Looking to set up a corner guard. Looks like it's going to enter into the house. Team Nova Scotia will start on the process of removing that rock. Margaret has asked Jill to hit. On its way. Line continues to look good. Rolls across the top of the roan and out the back of the house, off to the side of the house. Team Ontario. Rock on the way for Fran Todd. Asking to set up a corner guard again. This time a little lighter. May and has once again entered the house. Nova Scotia able to come after it. So critical, especially when you're behind, to in your first 2 rocks have the guard set up so that you have something to come around and build your end. going forward. When they go in the house, the opposing team is now in the lead. Just love this opportunity to remove stones. And successfully done by second Gail Hayes. And Nova Scotia sitting 2 in the house. Being down 5-0 key is that somehow get into play. So freezes, come around, become critical part of the strategy. And Dunn for Ontario skip, asking her second Victoria Marianchuk to sit on the Nova Scotia shot rock on the pin. Ontario sweeper's hard on it. It's going to come up a little light. Once again, Nova Scotia is looking to remove the Ontario rock. Making it very difficult to build an end when your first rocks for Ontario are not in play. It looks a bit outside. Coming now. Perfect pick. Victoria Marianchuk's been asked again to freeze to the shot stone. A little more weight this time. A whole lot more weight this time, unfortunately. It's gone through the house. Scotia has now decided to protect their shot rock. Margaret Cutcliffe, skip for Nova Scotia, has asked her third, Karen Hennigar, to put up a center line guard. Looks a little heavy. It's starting to dig in a little. It is. Still not finishing. Still not finishing. Still leaves the shot rock exposed. Team Ontario has an opportunity here to hit and roll for one. Must rock for this end if it's to score 2. Sweepers are on it. Looking for it to finish. Here it comes. Nose hit. Not enough weight. Still may come into play for Nova Scotia, or for Ontario, where the Nova Scotia rock that they just hit was the 8. Karen Hennigar being asked to remove the Ontario stone, sitting at the deep in the 4. Has the whole rock to hit. A matter of keeping line here for this. Looks like we have a nose hit. And Dunn is hoping for hit and some type of roll here to get at least a bit of cover. Last rock, fourth end for third Karen Hennigar for Team Ontario. Sweepers are now on. Oh. Off, waiting for it to finish. It's coming over. Hit, remove the Nova Scotia rock, however, still wide open. Team Nova Scotia would be more than happy just to hit and stick. Another end where Team Ontario has been under a lot of pressure. First rock, fourth end for skip Cutcliffe, Team Nova Scotia. Hit and stick. Rock on the way. Sweepers on it. Can get by their own. Racked on the Nova Scotia rock at the back of the back of the 8 rather. Sorry. The situation is right now Nova Scotia is first and second. Ontario now has a rock in play. Some discussion about removing one of the Nova Scotia rocks and having a play on that blue, on their own rock for Ann's final shot. So that's what they have decided to do. Make a play on the Nova Scotia rocks in the house on the 8-foot. Skip and Dunn gets set. Sweepers calling for line. Wait, it's curling. Maybe a roll away here. Nova Scotia still shot rock. Even though 2 Ontario rocks in the house, all 3 rocks in the house are behind the tee line. Single rock now out in front of the house, just off the tee line. The only guard. Nova Scotia's decided to come after the Ontario rock in the 12-foot. Hopefully get a bit of a roll and sit 1-2. Again, it's been a game of chase for Team Ontario. Cannot seem to get anything built so far in this game. Rock in the way. Skip Cutcliffe for Nova Scotia. Going to get a piece of it and a roll. but has bumped their own rock back. Nova Scotia is sitting 1 and 3. Team Ontario, second rock. But as that rock rolled over, it rolled under cover, and making the idea of for Team Ontario to have the opportunity to move shot rock very difficult. So a draw will be used here to score 1. I believe that Skip and Dunn will not be light on the draw here. Really no need to. Some backing. Kept it clean going by the guard. There's a call from me and I made a shot. Nova Scotia, Ontario picks up 1, and after 4, leading into the 4th end break, score Nova Scotia 5, Ontario 1. Going into the 5th end, Nova Scotia will have the hammer. Yes.
Visit novascotia.com/Annapolis Valley. The Annapolis Valley, simply extraordinary. The Annapolis Valley, simply extraordinary. Premium grapes and the warm soil of the Annapolis Valley. We think it's the ultimate wine pairing. Visit novascotia.com/Annapolis Valley. The Annapolis Valley, simply extraordinary. Visit.
This is the second day draw, 10 o'clock draw of the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships in Kentville and Wolfville, Nova Scotia, hosted by the Glooscap Curling Club in Kentville and the Wolfville Curling Center in Wolfville. Kentville and Wolfville are located in the beautiful Annapolis Valley, 70 miles, located about 70 miles from Halifax, northwest of Halifax. Some of the more fertile farming land anywhere in the world. Great scenery. The world-class Bay of Fundy not far away with world-high tides. Tides that can range from a low, if you imagine 0 to a change of 50 feet in a period. It's quite amazing. To give the idea of what that would be like, fill up your bathtub full of water, call it high tide, pull out the plug, call it low tide. To see that on a basin or a harbor level is quite an emerging wine industry taking place in Nova Scotia, where world-class wines continue to be developed, and food people and wine people from all over the world have offered critical acclaim for the emerging wine industry here. The town of Kentville itself has a population of about 6,000 people, incorporated in 1886. Agriculture is still a foundation for the economic background for the area. Kentville is the hub of the medical services, legal service, financial services in Kings County. New Minas is, the village of New Minas is next door to the town of Kentville, and actually is located between the towns of Kentville and Wolfville. And they have been great supporters of the curling events here. There's approximately 4,300 people, residents in the village of New Minas, and is the commercial district and shopping district, retail district for Kings County. On the other end is the town of Wolfville, population of 4,300, incorporated in 1893. It was originally known as Mud Creek, and in 1830 got its name of Wolfville when two granddaughters of Judge Eliza DeWolf convinced their postmaster uncle that a more suitable name was needed. Didn't think that Mud Creek was a suitable place for young girls to send letters. The fifth end is underway here, and Team Ontario is down 5-1 without the hammer. Again, it's been a game of where they've been Team Nova Scotia for the first four ends and have found great difficulty in trying to get anything established. They have Team Ontario setting up a guard. First stone for Team Nova Scotia, Jill Linquist. I think they would like to have it come around the rock just thrown by Team Ontario. Sweepers are hard on it, might be just light. So Team Ontario is going to use that opportunity to come around the two guards, around the overlap stones. Second rock for lead Fran Todd of Team Ontario. Fran has been one of the foremost people in Canada and in her continuing efforts as a leader, as a coordinator, as an administrator, as an overall promoter of the game of curling. She had convinced the area to be a host, along with her friends, for almost 28 Scottish curlers for 3 weeks, helping them develop and promote the game. And Anne, as a former chair of the Canadian Curling Association in the years 2008 and 9. Not to mention her outstanding accomplishments on the sheet of ice itself. Team Nova Scotia trying to come around the other two guards. Got a little deeper, but the shot is fully exposed. Team Ontario would like to come down and sit on top of that shot. So second for Ontario, Victoria Marianchuk. Delivery on the way. Sweepers are on it right away. Look, the line is tight. Looks like it definitely will be hitting rock out front. Has opened up the house, however, Nova Scotia would like to come behind some of the guards that are out front. Put another rock in the house. First stone for Gail Hayes. Not finishing. They're going to get possibly a tap or a wick off their own in the front. A little heavier than they would have liked. So Team Ontario going to play and remove that on Nova Scotia rock on the 12. Top of the house. Line looks good. Looks like a nose hit. A little bit of a roll. Possible biter at the top of the 12. Team Nova Scotia deciding to remove the stone and get a bit of a roll, maybe under cover. Last rock. Gail Hayes, the 5th in. A little over curl. May roll the other way. 5 rocks in front of the house. All thing in the house. Ontario hoping they can put one into cover. First rock of 3rd for Team Ontario, her first rock in the 5th in. Not finishing as much as they thought it or had hoped it would. Fully exposed for Team Nova Scotia. Looking for a hit and roll here. Karen Hennigar's first rock, 3rd for Team Nova Scotia. Trying to hold them out, curling a little harder. Hot, still rolling a bit under cover. Actually, great shot. Team Ontario will ignore that. Attempt to draw in under cover. Last rock for Carol Thompson in the 5th. Teams have been finding it hard to get some movement away from the center line to get enough swing to move under some of the guards out in front of the house. This one is still hugging the center line. A bit light. Karen Hennigar should be able to see almost all of the rock. Looking for a hit and roll here too. Or may not be bad to hit and stick as well. Sweepers on it, starting to move now. Movement to the center. So Nova Scotia sitting 2. both 12-foot. Sometimes in the game of curling, the game starts of where you feel like you're constantly chasing your opponent, and you're hoping that in the next end or so that they can stop and that you can get them to chase you. Team Ontario has been facing the situation where they've chased on Team Nova Scotia from the very first end. And into the fifth, the same thing is still taking place. And it explains Nova Scotia being up 5-1. Ann's Rock is on the way, looking to be buried here. Sweepers are hard on it, trying to get by the red guard that's at the top of the house. It is now by, whether it could be deep enough, and again it's light. Discuss some possible options here for the skip and mate for Team Nova Scotia. Tap back options. Draw options. Cutcliffe coming down, getting to throw her first rock in the fifth end. Nova Scotia with the hammer. Asked what was some of the keys to Team Nova Scotia, and when I was speaking with Margaret today, and she said the girls just love to curl. We curl seniors. This was us first time into the Masters. We just simply love to curl, and said our communication is everything, especially for a new team, which this is. So focus has been on fun, and they know that in order to be successful, communication skills are going to be utmost. Rock is coming up a little light, I think, for Team Nova Scotia. Still making the draw a little more difficult. So Ontario's in a bit of a situation what to do here. Can they come in? Can they come in around the mess that's in the top of the 12? Can they come in for a shot? Or do they try to remove some of the rocks out and move and maybe bump their own into cover for shot? So combination of hitting a Nova Scotia rock, bumping onto the Rhone, is that possible? Better to try to draw in, but unfortunately, I think the way Ann's probably thinking right now, well, there's two things. It's been hard to figure out just exactly to how much curl they can get, and her draw weight today has not been her friend. Deciding to go with the draw. For Ontario, this is a must shot. The rock has to be buried here. Being down 5-1 without the hammer in the fifth end. Cannot let it get to 7-1. Sweepers are on it. Now they're off, waiting for line. Waiting for line. It's going to be by. Now, how deep? and out the back. Nova Scotia will have a draw for 3. As I'd mentioned, Nova Scotia's team of Margaret, Cutcliffe, Karen Hennigar, Gail Hayes, and Jill Linquist, new team, and has emerged from their many years of curling in the seniors, and they are still active in the seniors, first and foremost the curl seniors. And through the efforts of Karen Hennigar, they formed the team to curl in the Masters, and first-time success. Karen and Jill curl out of the Truro Curling Club, and Gail and Margaret curl out of the Mayflower in Halifax. Margaret gets set. Final rock. 5th end. Open draw for 3. Needs to curl. It's hanging up, hanging up, hanging up. May rub on their own. Needs to finish. A little rub off. When everything's going well, everything's going well. Nova Scotia scores 3. After 5 ends, Nova Scotia has a commanding 8-1 lead. Ontario will have a hammer in the 6th. The support of the community for this event, again, I can't say enough about how supportive even the club membership has. The number of volunteers from the existing curlers and clubs has been just been incredible, co-chaired by volunteers themselves, and it's been an incredible event. Kathy Siddle and Tony Sterling have been co-chairs of this event over the last 13 months, and as Kathy would say, well, I decided to give up sleeping for running curling. And Tony, just to add to his responsibilities, he is the ice maker for both events. Tony is an acclaimed ice maker in the Maritimes, having been involved actually setting up doing the ice for the Grand Slam event in Newfoundland, the opening of the season for 2015-16 Grand Slam series. And Tony is the ice maker for the club itself in Kentville and Wolfville, and curls in both clubs. He's an accomplished curler and has a Masters team that does very well, and he's finished 3rd in the province at the Masters as well. So with great curlers, great volunteers, has made this a tremendous event. The opening ceremonies were held last night here at the club, and the hospitality also goes to the teams that show up here. The team from PEI brought enough mussels and oysters for all involved to have and even take home. It was a fantastic piece of generosity by a team visiting the event and participating in it, and it was a tremendous time here last evening at the Glooscap Curling Club. In the 6th end here, Ontario needs to get any rock and every rock in play. And so Ann Dunn has asked lead Fran to throw guards, which she has done. Now into second stone for second thrower for Team Nova Scotia. Gail Hayes will be some of the guards. Great shot. At this stage, being down 8-1 in the 6th, and you have 3 ends to go, 2 things have to happen. You need Nova Scotia misses, and you need a whole whack of Ontario makes. Team Ontario can control their makes, but they can't do much about Nova Scotia misses. That's where the hope card comes into play. Another guard being thrown up by Ontario, just biting on the top of the 12, and rolling into the 12. And Nova Scotia will continue to remove rocks thrown by Team Ontario. Rolling, Nova Scotia's rock rolling through the house. It is. Second for Team Ontario, Victoria Marianchuk. Rock on the way. Trying to get a little bit of cover behind their lone guard. Great weight, not finishing quite as much as they would like. For Karen Hennigar to see, to remove, setting in the hack. Nice easy weight. Being asked to third, Carol Thompson, third for Team Ontario. Has to make a play on the Nova Scotia rock. Hopefully keep Nova Scotia's rock around a bit, maybe for backing. Weight looks a little heavy for that shot. Nova Scotia rocks removed. Out of play. Only rock in the house, Team Ontario. This is exactly what Nova Scotia wanted. Very few rocks into play. Keeping things wide open. Last rock for Carol Thompson. Rock for Carol Thompson, Karen Hennigar. Now, trading hits. Now rock on the way for Carol Thompson. discussion for Team Nova Scotia about where they would like to have their shooter end up. Roll away from that guard, setting up long guard. As I mentioned before, in order to come back, there has to be, for Ontario, has to be a combination of makes and Nova Scotia misses. Nova Scotia has not been cooperating for Ontario. Been very few misses on the hits. First rock for our skip, Margaret Cutcliffe, Team Nova Scotia, on the way. By the guard. Again, we'll try to come in behind the rock just from Nova Scotia. Set. The first rock and the sixth in. She certainly would like to get her draw weight down before this game is over, moving into her next round. Just hasn't been her friend today. So Team Ontario will just need to let this game go because it's not looking like a W maybe coming from this game, but they move on. Still 2-1, still in the driver's seat, but just need to shake the game off and not carry it with them into the next one. On the opposite side, Nova Scotia has played very well this morning, and they would move to 2-1, and they want to carry that momentum with them into the next game as well. Final rock for Team Nova Scotia in the sixth in. So, not much left for Team Ontario. Draw for one. Great game thrown by Margaret Cutcliffe and her teammates, Karen Hennigar, Gail Hayes, and Jill Linquist. Northern Ontario is leading Manitoba 4-1, or they're tied at 4 after 5. Quebec is leading Yukon 6-1 after 5. And British Columbia is leading Alberta 5-2 after 5. And this rock pretty much sums up in Dunn's day. Shaking of hands, Nova Scotia scores 2 for a 10-1 victory over Ontario after 6 ends. We are into day 2 of the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships. Commentator Jim Noonan is pleased to give you some play-by-play commentary on some of the games that are being taken, and with the great effort and great support of Bell Alliance, it is made possible here to bring some of the games of the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships to curling fans wherever you may be. And if anybody is talking to Russ Howard, tell him that his job is not going to be threatened by Jim Noonan anytime soon. So on that note, thank you for live streaming in with us, and may you come back to another draw of the 2016 Canadian Masters Curling Championships being held in Kentville and Wolfville, Nova Scotia.